Rome remembered Vercellae as a triumph, a day when the Republic stood on the edge of extinction and stepped back. An enemy erased, a migration annihilated, a threat older than memory finally ended. But history is rarely so simple, because Vercellae did not just save Rome, it changed Rome. And the changes unleashed on that battlefield would echo forward through civil wars, dictators, assassinations, and finally, the death of the Republic itself. This is the story of how Rome won a battle and lost its future. By the late 2nd century BC, Rome was afraid, not of Carthage, not of Greece, not of kings or empires, but of a people without cities. The Cimbri and Teutones, migrating tribes from the north, had been moving south for decades. They did not invade like traditional armies. They arrived like a force of nature. Entire Roman armies had already vanished before them. At Nerea, at Arausio. Arausio, in particular, was a nightmare. Over 80,000 Roman soldiers dead, the worst defeat since Cannae. The Republic was bleeding, and it had no idea how to stop it. A republic in crisis. Rome's system was not built for this kind of war. Command was political, armies were temporary, soldiers were land-owning citizens who returned home after campaigns. But the northern threat did not follow Rome's rules. The Cimbri did not retreat neatly. They did not negotiate predictably. They did not fear Rome's reputation, and every defeat made them bolder. Rome faced a simple truth. If the Cimbri reached Italy in force, there would be nothing left to stop them. The Republic needed a man who could break tradition. It found Gaius Marius. Marius was not born into Rome's elite. He had no ancient lineage, no famous ancestors, no patience for aristocratic arrogance. What he had was experience. He had fought in Numidia. He had seen chaos. He understood discipline. And in Rome's darkest hour, the people broke tradition and did something unprecedented. They elected Marius consul. Then they did it again, and again, and again, 5 times in a row. Rome was no longer pretending the system worked. Marius made a radical decision. He opened the legions to the landless poor, men with no property, no farms to return to, no stake in the old republic. Rome would pay them, arm them, train them, and promise them land after victory. The army became professional, loyal, disciplined, deadly, but also dangerous, because these soldiers no longer fought for the Senate, they fought for their general. Rome solved one problem and planted the seeds of another. The enemy divides. The Cimbri and Teutones did not move as one. They split. The Teutones marched west and were annihilated by Marius at Aquae Sextiae. Only one threat remained. The Cimbri, massive in number, hardened by victory, confident beyond reason. In 101 BC, they crossed into northern Italy. Rome braced for the final confrontation. The battlefield lay near Vercellae in the open plains of northern Italy, flat, wide, exposed, perfect for Rome. Marius positioned his legions carefully. He waited for the heat, for the dust, for fatigue to do half the work. Across the field stood the Cimbri, men, women, children. This was not just an army. This was a migrating people fighting for survival. They formed massive infantry blocks. They chained themselves together so no one could flee. There would be no retreat. The sun rose high, heat pressed down, the Cimbri advanced. Their charge was terrifying, a wall of bodies, shields, and noise rolling forward. But the Roman line held. Pilum after pilum flew into the advancing mass. Shields shattered, formations slowed, momentum died. Then the legions advanced, step by step, shield to shield, steel moving as one. This was not chaos, this was execution. Roman cavalry struck the flanks, the Cimbri formation buckled. Once cohesion broke, everything collapsed. There was nowhere to run. Behind them were their own wagons, their families, their dead. What followed was not a battle, it was annihilation. Ancient sources claim over 100,000 Cimbri were killed or captured. Their king, Boiorix, died fighting. By nightfall, the threat that had haunted Rome for decades was gone forever. Italy was safe. The Republic survived. Marius was hailed as the third founder of Rome after Romulus and Camillus. The Senate breathed again. The people celebrated. But something fundamental had changed. Rome had learned a new lesson, that armies could be loyal to men, that power came from soldiers, not institutions, that victory justified breaking tradition, and others were watching. Marius did not intend to destroy the Republic, but his reforms made it possible. Future generals would copy him: Sulla, Pompey, Caesar. Each would raise armies loyal not to Rome, but to themselves. Each would march on Rome itself. The legions that saved the Republic at Vercellae would one day end it. Vercellae was not just a battle, it was a pivot point. Before it, Rome was a citizen republic. After it, Rome was a military state in waiting. The Republic survived another century, but it was living on borrowed time, because the weapon that saved Rome was the same one that would eventually destroy it. History often celebrates victories, but the most important victories are the ones that change how a society survives. Vercellae saved Rome from extinction, but it taught Rome to depend on men stronger than its laws. And once that lesson was learned, the Republic was already doomed.